Welcome to our presentation. This group's members are Cyra, Jordan, and Adam. We watched and researched the issue of Inuit seal hunting as described in the documentary Angry Inuk, directed by Alethea Inuk-Baril.
Alethea Inuk-Baril, MSc, is an Inuk filmmaker known for her work on Inuit life and culture. She is the owner of Unicast Studios, a production company in Iqaluit, which produces Inuktitut films. She was awarded Canadian Meritorious Service Cross in 2017 in recognition of her work as an activist and filmmaker. She currently works part-time at the Cunha Collective, a social project which supports Inuit empowerment initiatives. In the late 1990s, ISHU Peter began training in Inuit studies at Nunavut Arctic College in Iqaluit. Her academic background and interest in Inuit advocacy led her to enroll in Akitsarik Law School, a legal education program established in Iqaluit in 1999 to address the shortage of lawyers and judges in Nunavut. An advocate for her community about the European boycott of seal products, ISHU Peter is also a craftswoman and designer. In addition to her work as a lawyer, activist, fashion designer, and musician, ISHU Peter's involved in the development and promotion of school and university programs for Inuit communities. In 2011, she received the Order of Canada for her contributions to the preservation and promotion of Inuit culture in the Inuktitut language. ISHU Peter is an intergenerational cultural facilitator, regularly collecting Inuit customary law from community elders on behalf of Nunavut's Minister of Justice.
Angry Inuk examines the prosecution of Inuit seal hunting and the consequences it has on Inuit communities. The film breaks down stereotypes of the Inuit and educates the audience on the necessity and importance of seal hunting for this community.
Footage for the documentary is made up almost entirely of material shot by Inuk-Baril, with the occasional exception of stylized animation segues and source clips concerning the subject matter. The majority of the documentary is shot in the filmmaker's home community of Iqaluit, as well as portions in Kimmirut and Pangnotong. These sections are mostly a collection of seal hunts, sharing of seal meat and fur with the community, and the crafting of seal fur attire, along with interviews with the community members. There are also sections filmed in Toronto, where a counter-protest is staged, and Strasbourg, France, where the EU seal hunt ban was voted on.
Timeline of the film. The film starts in Kimmirut, Nunavut Territory, spring 2008. Greenpeace, the International Fund for Animal Welfare, as well as other groups, put out intense anti-sealing campaigns throughout the 70s and 80s, resulting in the 1983 ban on products made from white coat harp seal pups by the European Union. These campaigns ruined the reputation of sealskins, resulting in a market crash, altering lives of Inuit. It took 25 years to rebuild the reputation and demand for sealskins. In 2008, anti-sealers continued to push a ban on all seal products, saying that there would be an exception for Inuit hunters. However, the 1983 ban also had an exception for Inuit but failed to actually protect them. In 2009, the EU was voting on the new ban. Alethea, ISHU, and other Inuit hoped to convince them against it. However, on May 5th, the EU Parliament passed the ban by a vote of 550 in favor to 49 against. ISHU discusses with the National Inuit Association to discuss legal options. Alethea wants to confront anti-sealers. ISHU convinced the collective of Inuit organizations to launch 2 lawsuits to overturn the ban through EU courts. The Canadian government is proposing underwater systemic testing around Baffin Island. 2013, the Inuit lawsuits are still in the works, and the EU courts announced their decision on the Inuit lawsuits against the seal ban. They couldn't defend their decision based on animal welfare or conservation, so they said it was based on, quote, moral grounds. In 2014, Ellen DeGeneres chose to donate $1.5 million to the Humane Society of the United States, which is one of the largest anti-sealing groups. In response to this, a young Inuk girl made a video addressing Ellen, and later Alethea and her friends decided to make a play on the word selfie and post #SealFees. To explain that a bit more, the reason that Ellen donated that was after that viral selfie. I think it was at the Oscars with a bunch of actors in it, and then she donated all that money to the Humane Society, so that's why in response came SealFees, which was basically Inuit people taking pictures with seals, either eating it or, Anyways, Alethea and IU were invited on Al Jazeera to discuss seal hunting with Rebecca Aldworth, who is a leader in the Humane Society, who Alethea had been trying to contact several times, but Rebecca did not ultimately end up joining.
History on Inuit seal hunting. Archaeological evidence indicates that Native Americans and First Nations people in Canada have been hunting seals for at least 4,000 years. Traditionally, the Inuit diet enriched fish, whale, and seal. Seal meat was an important source of fat, protein, and vitamins, and the pelts were vital for their warmth. Traditional Inuit seal hunting accounts for 3% of total hunt. It is excluded from the European Commission's call in 2006 for a ban on the import, export, and sale of harp and hooded seal products. Ring seals were once a main staple for food and have been used for clothing, boots, fuel for stamps, delicacy, containers, igloos, windows, furniture, harnesses for huskies. They're no longer used to this extent. Ring seals are still important food source for the people in Nunavut. Called Naik by the Central Alaskan Yupik people, the ring seal is also hunted in Eden and Alaska. In Europe, seals were hunted in Northwest and in the Baltic Sea more than 10,000 years ago. The first commercial hunting of seals is said to occur in 1515 when a cargo of fur seal skins from Uruguay was sent to Spain for sale in markets of Seville. North Atlantic. Migratory fishermen began hunting seals in the region of Newfoundland and Labrador and the Gulf of St. Lawrence in the 1500s. Large-scale commercial seal hunting outside of Europe began with the Newfoundland seal hunt, which became an annual event starting 1723, and expanded rapidly near the turn of the 18th century. Growing from the enormous international Grand Banks fishery, the Newfoundland hunt began with the small schooner-based hunts, kill rates averaging 451,000 in the 1830s, rising to 546,000 annually during the first half of the next decade. This led to a marked decline in the harp seal population, which adversely impacted profit of the seal hunting industry. Some key issues highlighted. Animal rights activists who are convinced seal hunting is inhumane are trying to put a stop to seal hunting and ban the trade of sealskin. These animal rights activists have not seen firsthand how Inuit hunt, yet they say sealing should end because it's not moral to kill a seal just for its fur. This is not accurate for Inuit. As a result of trauma from residential school abuse, forced relocations, and destructive policies, the suicide rate became alarmingly high amongst Inuit in the 1970s. In 1983, the rate only grew higher and remains one of the highest in the world. Misleading imagery, using the white fur seals as campaign photos despite those not being hunted. On May 5th, the EU Parliament passed the ban by vote of 550 in favor to 49 against. Before the ban, Inuit were selling around 60,000 skins a year. A year later, Inuit were selling half of that, and the prices fell from 100 to 10. 7 out of 10 Inuit children go to school hungry.
Greenpeace and Humane Society outcome responses. From Greenpeace, that's the image many Indigenous inhabitants of northern Canada still see when someone says the word Greenpeace, even though we have not actively campaigned against the seal hunt for many years now, and they have good reason for that. Our campaign against commercial sealing did hurt many, both economically and culturally. And from the Humane Society, we have never opposed the Inuit subsistence seal hunt that occurs in Canada's north. Animal protection groups oppose the commercial seal slaughter, which occurs in Atlantic Canada and is almost entirely conducted by non-Aboriginal people. This is an incredibly revealing and harrowing documentary. I would urge those who have not seen it to watch it soon. It is available for free on Tubi, which itself is a free streaming platform. We'll be happy to take any questions the class may have, but we would also love to suggest these two specific questions to you. Number one, did you, prior to this presentation or your viewing of Angry Inuk, hold the view that seal hunting should be stopped based on information spread by Greenpeace, the Humane Society, or some other source that uses cute pictures of baby harp seals? And number two, do you feel that misinformation plays the biggest role in the seal hunting ban, or disinformation? Misinformation being ignorant of the facts, and disinformation being willfully deceitful and essentially lying.